Hello,
Yes.
my name's B. Arthur. Who are you?
I guess that would make me
Rona Barrett.
Estelle Getty. No.
Rona Barrett. The kids don't know who we're talking about. This week on Don and Gary doing 60. Gary, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about a couple things. One is under the umbrella of At Our Age. What's it like making new friends? Is that easy? Is that challenging? We'll talk about that.
And also,
And,
sorry, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just say and.
No, you go ahead.
We're just going to throw some random fun questions at each other and see where it takes us.
Can we call it our wobbly bits?
I don't know if we said wobbly bits. I think we just called the bits.
Bits and segments then. Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Don and Gary doing 60. We are here to unwrap and unpack navigating the world at our age.
And on today's topic, now I thought, you know what? Let's talk about making friends at our age. Is that easy? Is it challenging? I know for me, going back, how many years ago did you leave Northern California?
Gosh, it's going on 6 years now.
Okay.
6 years.
So that started kind of a precipice of other friends either moving away or just kind of drifting away. The group that we had, for no known reason, everyone just kind of drifted away.
We were quite a tight hive for a long time.
It was brunches and dinners and birthdays and little vacations. And so it hit me kind of hard in the sense that you left and then John moved to San Diego. Another friend moved to the East Coast. And so I did a test for 1 year. I did a test to see the other friends who were remaining, would any of them reach out to me for something? Because usually you, me, and one other friend would be the ones who would corral everyone together.
True.
Hey, it's so-and-so's birthday. Hey, let's get together for brunch. Hey, it's a holiday, whatever it is. So once you left and once the other friend left, that left me and
to corral everybody.
And it was a very quiet year. No one reached out to me. Literally no one of that group. So, I've reached out and we've done things, and someone told me, no, Gary, you have to wrangle us together. It's like, I don't have to, but so setting that aside, for me, for as much volunteer work as I do with the fire department and neighborhood association, I know a lot of people. I run into a lot of people.
You do.
But in terms of, do I socialize with them? Would I consider myself friends with them in the sense of, hey, let's catch a movie, let's grab some dinner? No. So I'm a bit of a lull.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. Because you talked about me moving here and everything, but going back to when we all lived in the Bay Area at the same time, some people just don't have the fortitude. That's a big word, but the fortitude to actually do this, and the stamina or the patience and or the wherewithal. I'm using all my big letter words today, but it's like some people just don't feel like doing that. And a lot of times, we always talked about entertaining at our different homes, and we like to do that, but it's actually quite an undertaking to have people come to your house in a large group.
Right.
It can be daunting, but some of us, we both enjoy doing that, or did enjoy doing that, and I still enjoy doing that too. But I know that not everyone has the bandwidth to do it. So I think that's interesting. And I, like you too, there's certain people that have just drifted away that were people who were always not on the periphery, but always were part of the hive, so we'd always say, oh yeah, don't forget to invite that person, or don't forget to invite that person. But I guess it just happens to us. I think people fade in and out of our lives. It just happens.
For sure.
And I'm not sad or mad about it. It's just part of how it goes.
Oh no, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say one side note, take us off topic for 1 second.
Oh, right.
Since we are on YouTube, I don't know if this will be shown, but right now you've got like a thumbtack in the middle of your face. I think it's because your mouse is...
Okay. Right now, you have a thumbtack in the middle of your face because
Oh,
your
I do.
mouse is...
Oh, see, I don't see it on mine. I see it on yours.
And now I see it on yours because I just moved my cursor. So your mouse, if it goes into the screen of our where our shot is here, you get a little thumbtack.
Yours is gone.
Thumbtack.
Is mine gone?
No, I'm tack. I'm stabbing you in the nose right now with your thumbtack.
No, but
it doesn't show when we're recording. So no,
okay.
The last 30 seconds of this audience has been, I'm sure, scintillating for you to listen to, but
I've never had a thumbtack on my face.
Well,
but anyway,
don't knock it.
No, but back to the topic at hand. It has been challenging because
I agree.
For example, I like to go to culture events, whether it's a symphony or a live show.
Yep.
And so when an opportunity comes up, like, oh, I want to go see that. And it's like, do I buy a ticket for myself or do I buy 2 tickets? And on the occasions when I bought 2 tickets, thinking, well, I'll find someone to go.
Yeah.
It's really challenging. I'm calling left and right.
And we should break down this strategy because I think I agree with you. And it's I always get the commitment from the person that we're talking about or talking whatever we're going to go do, whatever activity it's going to be.
Yeah.
I make sure to say, okay, I want to go. So I want to buy 2 tickets. If I buy a ticket, you're going to come with me. And I get that commitment. So, I mean, you've got more, you're more outgoing with it when it comes to like finding that, like, I really want to see that show. I know you're very big on seeing all the Broadway shows right now that are going through the Golden Gate or whichever theater it is.
Yeah.
So you actually bought a season ticket for that. And you said, screw it. I'm going to buy a season ticket because you wanted to see all those
for
things.
Me.
Yes. But I think it's also important that you are happy with the fact that you've decided to do this regardless of whether you're going to go with somebody too.
Oh yeah, I don't want to miss out on it. And
that's because I think that's a very healthy thing to do. I think it's super healthy because I actually, every once in a while I like to go out to dinner if so and so's out busy doing work or whatever or traveling. It's like I don't even mind. I actually like going to dinner sometimes on my own. Just to.
I was just going to ask, are you okay going by yourself?
Absolutely,
I'm used to it. For me.
And it's actually kind of interesting to go because when so-and-so's out traveling, that's when I get the opportunity to do it. And there's a lot of places, that I've not been to out here where we live now. And I have done it a couple of times and I've had a great time because I usually go around a happy hour or a twilight time where you have a meal, not senior sunset hour. It's more like, they sometimes places have a special from like 4 to 7 or 6 to 8 or happy hour, whatever it is. But what I found is when I go, which I've done a few times now, it's so easy to strike up a conversation with who's ever there because there's a lot of people who actually do this on their way.
But you're sitting at a table by yourself or are you eating like at the bar?
Mostly at the bar. I mean, because that's where most of the...
Yeah, because the bar is easier to kind of strike up a conversation. Yes. If you're at your own table, that's
right. But yes. Yeah. So my point, I guess, was that if you're sitting at the bar, it's a lot easier just to strike up a conversation because most of the other people who are there are either coming and going from home to, from work to home, maybe stopping to get something. And I found, I really enjoy it. And it's a really great way to have a conversation with somebody or not. But I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. And I think just jumping into my side of it, you mentioned that we moved over here about 6 years ago. And I got to be honest with you, I was kind of miserable for the first year or so.
Well, you didn't know anyone.
Didn't know anybody from Adam. And it's like, and then, LA's not my thing anymore. And it's just like, I don't have any desire to go to LA. And it's kind of like what you were mentioning before, because I, used to work in LA and there were definitely people that I used to work with and were acquaintances with and sometimes did certain things with, but it never really went anywhere. And I would ask myself, okay, if I went into LA and picked up the phone and called so-and-so, do I even want to do that? One.
Sure.
And also it's been some time.
It's been some time.
I don't want to do that. But I guess, when it comes to living here now, we were very fortunate, super fortunate because, and I might have told you, I've told you this story before, but across the street, we were fixing up the yard or something. And our neighbors who we eventually met, Alicia and Simon, lived across the street. And Alicia tells this story all the time. She said, Simon, go upstairs. Go outside and see what those guys are doing working in their yard. See if they're nice people. And Simon is a very effusive, very, very friendly, happy guy. And he came over and he just introduced himself. He said, "Hey, I'm Simon. Are your neighbor across the street?" And I was so happy that somebody did that, because I mean, we'll go into my neighbors in a minute, but it was such a great thing because actually Alicia and Simon were the catalyst that actually started introducing us to other people. And it was very nice. They're very big. They like to go to the Wine Co. over in Manhattan Beach, which I think we went to. Did we go there? Did I drag you there? Yeah. Okay, but next time. Yeah. But they hang out there a lot. And we met the owner, Ray, who runs Manhattan Wine Company. And it's just easy. And again, Simon and Alicia are so friendly and gregarious that they know a lot of people. And of course, Simon, being a wine broker, knows everybody. And he's really good at introducing people. So I have to say we're very fortunate to have had Alicia and Simon meet us first and go out there and do that because they actually started our new circle of friends with us. It actually happened.
Well, and you guys kind of, because you have that front yard, you kind of had a homegrown community space.
Which I love. I mean,
especially on a nice day, people come over, you hang out, drink some wine, enjoy the weather.
Absolutely. And I love to do that. But you know what I just remembered? It's a lot of work. Yeah, because even a couple of days ago, we had our neighbors who actually, second note was our neighbors, both Art and Cindy and Janet in the back. We have like 3 townhomes connected. They're wonderful. We're all such good neighbors to each other. We look out for each other. We move each other's garbage cans. We're always texting each other. I noticed one of your questions about the Mrs. Kravitz. I hope you asked me that question, because I am the Mrs. Kravitz of Carnegie Lane. But they're really nice people, really nice. So we've been very, very fortunate, and like I said, the first year was a little tough though. So, and it's funny because I wondered, I maybe should ask you, is like there anyone, without naming names, is there anyone particular that you miss or wish that hadn't happened when they drifted away?
Well, I mean,
you don't have to.
You moved away, but we kept in touch.
Absolutely.
John moved away, but we kept in touch, and we try and see each other a couple times a year, and we're on the phone or Zooming all the time. We're podcasting.
That's what the kids are calling it.
The friends on the East Coast, we follow each other on social media, and but I haven't seen them since they moved away. But I understand life gets busy, and here's what I'll do is that I will reach out and say, hey, when your schedule allows, let's get together for dinner, throw me some dates or whatever. Yeah. And then the response is, yeah, great. And then I don't hear anything. And so after, again, I don't get upset, but I'm like, okay, well,
I think it's disappointing.
Next.
I think it's, but I think it's disappointing because, it doesn't have to be. And I applaud you because, try once, try a couple times, maybe try 3 times. If it doesn't reciprocate in any way, okay.
I don't write them off.
No,
I mean,
I guess
when I had a big event earlier this year, is my 20-year anniversary for having purchased my condo. And it was the first party I'd hosted since before the pandemic.
Oh, right.
Right. So 4 years I didn't have anyone in my house. So I said, you know what, we're far enough past it and it's 20 years. So I'll have a party. And I did reach out to some of those friends and, some said yes, others said, I'd love to, but I'm out of town or whatever. So, they're still trying to make the effort, and you can't have everyone that you want, but, at least I keep the lines of communication open.
Was that another party you didn't invite me to?
I think I did.
I'm just kidding. You did.
Did you come?
You did. No, I didn't come. Well, no, I didn't come to that one.
Because that was in February.
Right. So no.
Okay.
I think the last time.
And yet you came to Sonoma about a month ago.
I
digress. I'm not bitter about that at all.
Please. Barbara, please.
I'm not mad at you, Dawn. I'm mad at the dirt.
I'm mad at the wine. I'm mad at the grapes. But I guess, if I think back on it too, because the question I asked you is kind of maybe something I would ask there. Yes, I'd be a little disappointed if in a couple of people, individuals that have just drifted away. But again, it's like, well, maybe they just don't have the interest to stay in touch, or maybe
Right.
Life's change, priorities change. I wonder too, though, as as we get older, to retirement. Do you ever think that any of that would change too? Because we do have a couple of friends that are close to retirement,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're starting to travel a great deal or do a lot, and then all of a sudden you might not hear from them for a few weeks. Luckily, I mean, I'm sure with you it's the same, but we do have a couple of sets of friends, like we don't speak for 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month or so, maybe, but there's a text here and there, but they're busy doing something, so it's
Sure.
great to jump right back in right where you
Oh
start.
yeah,
So there,
for sure.
I still appreciate that kind of thing.
Yeah. Was interesting in terms of this wasn't a new friend, but someone who lived in the neighborhood, and we used to see each other at different meetings and
Mm-hmm.
events. And then there was a period of like 6 or 8 years where just never saw
Yeah.
him. And I thought, well, maybe they changed jobs, maybe they moved away. And we had a meeting a couple months ago, and I was greeting people at the door, and he walked in, but he had a baseball cap on, so I didn't recognize him right
Mm-hmm.
away. And then once in the meeting, someone said his name. I'm like, oh, that's so and so.
Really?
And so we reconnected. So it was fun. We got together for a couple lunches, and actually, I'm going to see him tonight for this workshop.
Would you
So it's fun to kind of reconnect with someone who I haven't seen in a
would you
while.
consider them a friend?
Yeah, I think
Okay, because
so. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
we've had a couple meals together,
Yeah.
and actually, talking about a social event. Um, the singer Cynthia Erivo?
Oh, yes, of course.
She's going to be performing with the San Francisco Symphony in
Oh,
September.
okay.
And you know that we know someone who
Yes, we
works with the
do. I
symphony.
know her name too. Do you
And
know her
she
name?
said, anytime you want tickets, let me know and I'll get them for you for free. So I reached out to these friends. I said, hey, this event's happening on this date. Would you be interested? He said yes, for he and his
Yeah.
partner. So like, hey, friend, can I get 3 passes? And I got him. So,
Yeah, we should pull her over to the podcast and start talking to her about that, because she's. But but here's the thing: that friend, who you're talking about, who works with the symphony. I mean, that's someone that you see from time to time, but they're very busy too.
Yeah.
I mean, they are always posting how much they're sitting in on symphonies, they're playing, they have their job on top of everything else,
And volunteer
and
work. Yeah.
volunteer work. So I mean, on kind of like you too, it's like you're quite the busy bee. You're not sitting around home on your
I,
fingers.
I do keep busy.
Yeah.
And it is funny that, especially here where I live in the condo, there's, I don't know, 300 plus units.
Mm.
So, of course, I manage the Google group. So everyone knows me by name. They may not know me by face, but oh, you're that Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm that Gary.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting dynamics here is that a lot of people will pair off because either, let's say they're married, so they
Sure.
meet other couples, or they've got kids and they'll do, family and kid things together, or they've got a dog. And so I don't have a dog, I don't have a kid, I don't have a partner. So in that sense, I'm like a little left out of those, but everyone's very friendly. And there's a lot of people that have been here the 20 years that I've been here.
But don't you think, and I'm not trying to slam this, but couples with kids, that's their life. Kids.
Oh, for
so
sure.
it's like, because
Yeah.
we have a
Yeah.
couple of neighbors here that have children, and they're just so rocket focused in on
Of
those
course.
kids that they really don't have time to do a whole lot more. Plus, a lot of times when we get together, like in our front yard, the rose all day wine fests that we do during the summer, there's people, sometimes people bring a dog or 2 dogs, and then if there's a kid, that's a lot. So I think maybe sometimes people don't feel like they would want to come, just because there might be too much going on, and then children take a lot of focus. And
well, also once you have kids, that opens you up for other
kids,
activities
yes,
and commitments of,
yes.
Once they get older, they're playing soccer, or there's a birthday party, or whatever. So yeah, I mean, their priorities change, but that's understandable. I mean,
yes, but I also believe that they tend to gravitate towards people with children also, because there's so much to speak about in common with those other parents who are probably going through a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you, because I think I don't know, I don't want it to sound sappy, but I think making a new friend is actually a really great feeling. I would look forward to that. I would really enjoy that, because once you connect with somebody, it's like, oh wow, a friend, and it's actually it feels good. And it's been, I'm going to say, quite a while. Luckily, we've met couples and we've met our neighbors, and things are still moving along. But I would never dismiss the idea of meeting a new friend.
Yeah.
How do we get there? Anyway, I guess the friend thing. I think I would appreciate to make new friends, and like I was saying before, I think it feels good to actually do, because it doesn't happen all that often. I
Right,
mean,
right.
and I would definitely be open to it. But the reason why I talked about being open and saying I want to say hello and smile at people more, because maybe I don't look approachable, so I wanted to try and turn that around.
Sure.
And I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard to read people, right? They may be hesitant about reaching out to
true. But
you, but
there's a
once
lot of
you kind of
this.
let your
There's a
guard
lot of
down and
this.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But once you kind of open the door, then
Yeah.
it welcomes others. So yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I mean, certain people. I know we can move on after this, but certain people just are not that effusive. They're just not really open to talking, and it's like
Right.
like Simon and Alicia. They're just outgoing people, and they love meeting new people. I don't think
Sure.
everyone loves meeting new people.
Right. I mean, like that. Like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need any
Yeah.
friends. I'm okay.
Yeah. Oh, so can we just side note on that real quick? Because there's something that was
Sure.
very interesting that I saw about Friends
Okay.
on YouTube. Oh, by the way, did you know Don and Gary are on YouTube? Don and Gary doing 60 on YouTube? Oh,
I
I heard.
heard.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. Anyway, there's a very interesting trend. Once you click on some content on YouTube, sometimes it feeds you more of the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I saw one video of this one guy. He's probably maybe 35, and he literally was doing a testimonial on having no friends and trying to understand why he didn't have friends. He's married. He has his wife, and no family yet, but his wife is his partner. But he was literally going on about why he didn't have friends. And then, I was watched YouTube again another time, and he came back on, and there was another person. And it's interesting how, I'm not going to put it in a box, but these males, about 35 or 40, who have careers and possibly partners or wives, they don't have friends, and they're not happy about it. And they're actually seeking therapy. And I'm seeing it as a trend almost, because I guess the testimonial is kind of the trend where people are being honest on YouTube to see if they can get help. And of course, people make comments on YouTube. But
Yeah.
I've noticed that it's like, wow, this is something very, and I'm talking like no friends. They literally say they don't know, they don't have any friends. And I think that's kind of, I don't want to say it's sad, because that, I don't want to sound like it's pity, but it's like, it makes me a little sad to think about that. So it
Right.
was interesting that I was seeing this trend in middle, I wouldn't say middle age, because we're middle aged, aren't we?
Yes. And you said he was in his 30s.
35, maybe 40, maybe,
Yeah.
but a little bit in the middle of their lives. And it was kind of interesting to see, because it's not isolated. So it's very interesting. And also they were some of them were very attractive, and people in the comments, because I read the comments saying, well, you're really attractive, why don't you have friends? And it's like, well, that doesn't make a difference if you're attractive or not. That shouldn't make a
Right.
difference about having
Right.
friends.
Right.
But it's not
It
uncommon.
helps.
It's well, for a dance partner maybe, or a happy hour martini.
Right.
But yeah, but I think it's a little more prominent than we actually think. And I think you and I are probably very grateful for the friends that we do have. And I'm very grateful.
Yeah. I mean, I was at a party this past weekend, and the hostess I've known since kindergarten.
Oh.
And then two other guests I've known since high school.
Mm-hmm.
So her neighbors who were at the house at the party with us are like I don't know anyone from that long. It's like I know a lot of people
You
that I've
do.
kept in touch with
You
since
do.
grade school and middle school and high school. And
Well,
yeah,
I think it helps that you see your mom quite often, and she's lived in the same neighborhood for quite a long time. And
right,
that's where you
right.
probably established a lot of these friendships, right? From going to
Um,
school, even.
yeah, Amy, her family lived near us. So that's why we went to the same, from she's a year older, but from kindergarten on, we were in the same schools. Others, I met up with them in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So only 4 years, but not that we kept in constant touch, but because some of them still live in the Bay Area, through one connection or another, we end up meeting up. So it's fun. I've got a big long list of people who, during the pandemic, to keep in touch, we would do the Zoom calls.
Love it.
And then add more people to it. So it grew from that. And then, because of social
Wasn't
media.
Wasn't it tough to have Zoom calls with a lot of people on it, though?
It is tough. Because there could be 6 conversations going on. Or,
didn't we do that for Jamie's birthday or something? There were like 20 people on the call.
That was my favorite. So it was my idea that we would, everyone would write one letter and we'd spell out happy birthday, Jamie. Right. And of course, you've got the whole grid of people on Zoom. Okay, surprise, everyone hold up the letter. Of course, they're all jumbled.
Like, Jamie.
But it was kooky and fun and whatever.
Well, let me say this: I'm grateful that you're my friend,
and that we've been friends.
I know it's very sweet, but you owe me $5 after I said it. So every time I say it, I am. I'm grateful that you're my friend. I mean, I cherish this because we've been friends for such a very long time. I don't want to get sappy and schmaltzy.
It's been a minute.
But yeah. So you can also say you're grateful that I'm your friend.
Yeah, I could say that, couldn't I? Yes, I'm very thankful.
On that note,
that for 45 years.
Well, now that I'm 46,
right.
Let's take a break, shall we?
Oh, okay.
We'll be right back.
From our friendship?
No. Well, maybe. Maybe.
So for this next segment, we are going to ask each other some random questions. It's under the heading of, I asked you a question.
Actually, and no, you said it was like, I asked you a question.
I asked you a question, but not that it's going to be a harsh discussion. It could be a quick answer. It could lead to some kind of conversation. Yeah. So you said you had a question for me to start off with?
I do. Is that okay if I go first asking you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so my question is, when did you find your voice to speak up or speak your mind?
That's a good question. It took me a while.
And let me preface that. Have you always done that, or did you hold back?
Oh no, I was always too intimidated to speak up or to speak my mind.
Okay.
So yeah, it took me a while. There was one time I was very much an adult, maybe even in my 40s, where I was meeting my mom at LAX because she was coming back from Mexico, and I flew down to meet her so I could bring her home.
Right.
And our flight got delayed. So we're sitting in the terminal waiting. And then the flight before us or after us, more and more people are gathering. It's super crowded. And I found a seat next to a woman who was talking on her cell phone.
Yeah.
And rather loudly.
Oh, did she have the speaker on? Was there?
No, not the speaker on, but she was just talking loudly.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, if it were me, I would, take my conversation. It's a mobile phone, so I could be mobile and go away somewhere else. Right. Or just talk quietly. But she was just loud and obnoxious. And I'm sitting right next to her. And I noticed that people, as I looked around the room, the people are giving her the, the tisk and the roll their eyes. But nobody said anything.
Really?
And I'd always be the one that would keep quiet, thinking, well, someone else is going to say something.
And forgive me, she was sitting literally next to you.
Literally next to me.
You got a full tilt boogie sound effects from her.
Yeah. So I ripped into her.
Did you really?
I said, you know what? I think you need to talk louder because not everyone can hear you. I don't know what I said.
You said that?
It was rude and obnoxious, and that pissed her off. And I think I was eating a sandwich. And at the time. And she's like, you know what? Well, your sandwich smells. And I'm
Wait,
just
did
eating
this
my
really just
sandwich.
Did she get up and leave?
No.
No.
She stayed in her chair. I stayed in mine. But I just, once
Well, good
I
for you, but
exploded, she got all pissed. And I just fat and happy eating my sandwich. And I'm smiling. And I'm sure the people are
okay,
like
but
going,
this, I
yes.
mean, that's not typical for you, isn't it?
No. Oh,
That's
for
pretty,
sure.
like, I mean,
I don't do that.
obviously she was being very inconsiderate and a bit
Yeah.
obnoxious, and
And so the older, younger, intimidated me would not have said anything. I probably would have moved,
yeah,
but there's no other open seats. It
yeah.
was that one or
So you
stand
would
out for a couple
actually,
hours.
sorry, you would allow it to happen.
I would allow it to happen, or just walk
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
Because I don't. I've never liked confrontation. Still
I
don't.
don't either.
So I don't want to get anyone's face, but the moment felt right.
And good for you for not getting up and leaving after you said that.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm now not as frequently because I try not to get in those types of situations, but I will, say something if I feel that it's taking too long or whatever the situation is that we're frustrated and there's other people there and no one is saying anything. So I'll be the one to raise my hand and I'll say something. You know how I really use it is with my horn. I love honking at people.
I almost said you.
Piss me
I
off.
thought you almost said with your whore.
No, with my
Or
horn.
no, like beep beep.
Car horn.
Sorry,
beep
sorry.
beep.
So what do you do?
Oh, anything. Like someone's crossing on the, against the red,
Yeah.
and I have the right of way. And I did that. It happened one time where a couple was in the intersection crossing against the red, and I've got the green light, so I'm going. And I honk into them, and he flips me off, and I flip him off too. It's my road. I've got the green light.
Do you ever feel like Kathy Bates in Fried Green Tomatoes when she's like, "Listen, I got more insurance and I'm older."
Exactly. Yes.
So maybe we've gotten a little more confident in ourselves because I still don't like confrontation, like you said.
Yeah. I think it's maybe less patience or just like it's just like the other person doesn't. They have to recognize you're being rude. Maybe they don't recognize you're being rude.
I don't think they do. I think they are oblivious and just assume that the world revolves around them. And I think, and I'm not going to go there because we're Don and Gary doing 60, but other generations that are younger than us are impervious to being worried about anything else but themselves.
Right.
That's a whole other episode.
And you see that everywhere in all ways.
Yeah.
And so I pick and choose. Sometimes I'll be very nice about it. Like, excuse me, you're blocking the aisle. Can you move your fat ass? Or whatever. I don't say that, but with a smile. Hi. I throw a lot of thank yous and pleases, and that way, I'm not too, they don't get too offended.
Okay, I'll share one quick one of that because I was schooled about it because I was schooled by someone who took a HR class about being sensitive. So apparently I was insensitive, but I've got a crazy neighbor across the street, not crossing down the street. She basically, she doesn't live in the building. She's there and she comes by to, okay. You know how we have our front yard?
Yeah.
There's 3 units. There's a backyard unit, a middle unit with no yard or a patio outside and a backyard unit. Well, this lady, Crazy Rita, that's what I'm going to call her because that's her name. Crazy Rita. She's basically, she doesn't live in the unit because her house is so full of other things. So basically she has a little bit of a hoarding issue, but hoarding issue, not whoring issue.
Yes. I heard you.
Oh, beep, beep. So she basically comes out all the time. The front yard actually is deeded to the person that lives in the front unit, but she was always in the front yard and she's always coming in and like moving rocks and picking up leaves and pretending and doing things in the front yard. And she also has a lot of problem because there's a lot of dogs in the neighborhood and sometimes they stop and use the yard to go to the bathroom. But I mean, of course, if you're picking up poop, if you're a good dog owner, so
right,
we always do that. But also there's dogs that do pee a lot on the yards, and she's like, every time anybody walks by, she literally steps in front of the yard if she's moving her rocks, and she says, "Don't pee on your yard. Don't pee on your yard." It's like, okay, got it. I understand. Don't want to do it, but all the time she literally does it. And sometimes she actually just makes little snide comments because I walk our dogs by, and I know not to get close to her yard, but sometimes we're on that side of the sidewalk. And she's like, I know that your dogs pee on my yard. I would appreciate if you didn't do that. And she's like, and I did my what? And I said, listen, lady. And I said, listen, Rita, that's not even your yard. And while you're not here, all these dogs are peeing all over your yard anyway. And by the way, you're bringing down the real estate values in the neighborhood by being a crazy lady in the front. And I don't know why I went off like that. But it's like, I mean, I literally told her she's bringing down our real estate value. And that was kind of rough, right?
Too rough.
No, but she did it first. She's been doing it for years now, and just assuming that we're peeing on her yard, which we are when she's not there. But it's like, okay, I can respect her when she's there. It's just the way that she went about it. Literally go out of her way to say. So I spoke my mind, just like the question that I asked you. I spoke my mind, and I was, later after I shared that with somebody, they kind of said, well, okay, did you feel better after you did it? And I didn't feel better. I felt bad because I said I should really have just ignored that person, walked around them. But I spoke my mind. But, sometimes when you speak your mind, you don't feel great about it afterwards, depending on how acerbic you are when you talk to them.
Well, let me just tell you that with my lady at the airport, I felt great afterwards.
Yeah, you said you enjoyed your sandwich.
Yes. It's the best tasting sandwich ever.
So again, you definitely have come a long way with it, right?
Yeah, and it's not that I use my voice all the time, but I'm more comfortable using it if the situation warrants it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
there's a boundary. There's a limit.
Oh, for sure.
Right? And I think that's fair. I think it's fair.
I have a filter, and I know how to use it.
I have a filter that makes me look like I'm 12 years old and a baby, but I don't have it on right now.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. Which you alluded to earlier.
Yes.
And the younger folks may not catch the reference, but
we're doomed.
The question is, are you the Mrs. Kravitz of your building or block? And if anyone's old enough to remember the TV show Bewitched, her nosy neighbor, Mrs. Kravitz, is where this comes from.
Yes.
Just getting in everyone's business, peeking through the window, tattletale, on everybody.
So I'm going to answer your question guardedly, because yes, I am the Mrs. Kravitz of the neighborhood, but I don't spy on my neighbors. I don't look around. I actually just am very aware of what's taking place in the neighborhood. And being the neighborhood watch captain, it's my job to make sure
it really is your job.
So here's just to share. So yes, I am the Mrs. Kravitz, and I do share with a lot of our neighbors, because we have a little chain of threads for texting that we all like. The lights went out, whatever, and they know I'm the neighborhood watch captain, or king, that I refer to. But so they're used to me sending out a text, and I also send out a newsletter every week to certain people.
Wow.
Well, every week that's important. And I remember. But so to answer your question, yes, I'm the Mrs. Kravitz. But one of the things I'm really big on is there's a lot of redevelopment in the area in Redondo Beach. There's a lot of old beach bungalows that are actually being remodeled or torn down to build larger units. And the rule here is that if you have 3 units on a parcel of land, you have to build another 3 units. So it was like apples for apples. So I was really big, because our block, which of course I'm the king of, with my neighborhood watch, basically has not had a lot of new construction. So it was a big deal when a bungalow up the way just sold, and we found out it was on the market. So I immediately texted all my neighbors, because new construction brings up your real estate value, and it's getting quite pricey over here. So I thought it was a good thing. So yes, I do that. I do share, that was sold, because that's a good sign that they're going to renovate and tear down a bungalow, and they sold the unit, so the developer will come in and do that. So yes, I do that. I also, we tend to know when Rita's in town. I send a text over to Ruth Holly, who lives down around the corner from her, and I said, just heads up, she's out, stay home. So
don't pee.
No pee. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to become more of a Mrs. Kravitz, and what I mean by that is just awareness. Like, I'm still trying to push the neighborhood watch thing. I think it's important. I think
good for you.
I think it's a little struggle. I mean, you've told me how sometimes it's a struggle.
Oh, for sure.
But I mean, back to the original thing we talked about at the beginning of the show, I also want to smile and say hi to people and get to know people. And I don't mean that to be in their face or spying on them or learning their gossip, although that would be fun. Yeah. That might be fun. But yes, so I mean, I'm going to be continued to Mrs. Kravitz. I mean, the good Mrs. Kravitz. Yes. With Abner. Abner. So yeah, it's okay. I'm all good with that. I don't mind. I kind of call myself that one anyway.
All right then.
All right.
So are we good?
I think we're good. I think we're good. What do you think?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Especially because I have to be in my car in 10 minutes.
Well, yes, so we're good. Bye. No. But no, that was really, I'm glad we talked about it. That was a good one.
Yeah. So we'll continue different conversations. Yes. And for anyone interested in wanting to be a guest, you can reach us through our social media. You can email us, Don and Gary Doin60@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And Don, where can they hear our podcast?
You can hear it
and watch it.
And watch it. So I'm working on this. Hopefully by the time everyone sees this, it's actually happening. So absolutely on Apple Podcasts. We're going to be on Spotify. And the goal for Spotify is actually to have us as a podcast with video. So that's why we're taping these, and that's why we look so good, because we coiffed our hair before we hit the record button. But the idea is that if you, on your phone or your mobile device, you can actually watch us if you want to, which I would think why wouldn't you want to watch us?
Hello.
Yeah, so on Spotify for sure. And then we're going to be on YouTube, as Gary mentioned. It's Don and Gary Doin 60. It's Don and Gary, which I'll put on the screen after we edit this one. But look for us there. I've just got one thing in, but we've got some stuff in the can, as we call it in the biz.
At Shop Talk.
Yeah, Shop Talk. So not that, well, my can's looking pretty good right now if I take a look. Yeah, so yeah, we got some content in the can. We're coming soon. So you can find us on all the socials. Don't forget, you can download us wherever you find good podcasts. And please like and subscribe and hit that like button, please.
So until the next time, we will see you soon. And you'll see us soon.
Yes, and again, this was B. Arthur and my partner, Rula Lenska. He's signing off. For those of you that don't know who that is, Google it. We'll see you next time.